Welcome to News Now Alberta. This is Special Ed. Today we're looking at a video out of Newfoundland of about a man and his son being assaulted by the RCMP.
It's November 2017, and Dennis Ball is returning home from work. He drives by an accident scene, rolls down the window. He says he yells at police to direct traffic, does a U-turn, then drives to his house.
I noticed the red and blue lights on my garage roll-up door, and I knew then who it was the police. I didn't know why they were there. I had a feeling they were chasing me, of course, or they showed up for me.
There's no sound, but this video surveillance from the family's home captured what happens over the next 10 minutes.
He said I was under arrest for flying through the intersection like a mad person, screeching tires. And I told him, I never done that.
Dennis Ball's son rushed outside to see what was happening.
He kept saying, stop getting close when I wasn't close to him at all. And I guess he must have felt threatened in some way or whatever, because he ended up pepper spraying me.
Skin burning, Zachary Ball goes back inside the house. Two other officers arrive, but he had no intention of letting them in.
They told me to open the door, and I told them to get a warrant because I didn't think they had any reason to come into my house, come to our home and do what they were doing. And that's when the female officer smashed the window in our house.
Both men would be arrested, but not before Zachary Ball was struck in the head by one of the arresting officers.
So the dad didn't really do anything to get arrested for. If he did screech tires, like they said, or whatever, that's a fine. That's not arrest. And then the son goes to check on his dad, gets pepper sprayed. Then they bust the window to the house to get the son.
An escalation of chaos that they say never should have happened. Dennis and Zachary Ball would end up spending the night here at the St. John's lockup, facing charges of dangerous driving, obstruction of justice, resisting arrest, and causing a disturbance. But after the prosecution viewed those videos and reviewed the evidence, these charges were withdrawn.
That's great, the charges went away, but in my opinion, charges never should have happened. So the fact that, they were withdrawn doesn't take away from what the Balls have been through. The bottom line is, the video tells the story, and the Balls were lucky to have a video.
So all I'll say is that when I looked at it, I decided that this needed to be investigated by a cert.
The file went to the Ontario Provincial Police with local lawyer Gus Bruce at the helm, overseeing the investigation and writing a report. In early March, the family got the results they were waiting for. Bruce determined the arrests of Dennis and Zachary Ball were unlawful, pepper spraying and hitting Zachary Ball not justified, and no reasonable grounds to break the window either. He recommended all three officers be criminally charged, the most serious being assault causing bodily harm.
So cops investigated cops and for once determined that these cops should be charged. That's not going to happen.
But those recommendations were just that, recommendations. Charges weren't laid. The province's top prosecutor explains why.
In every case, it's important to look at the facts. And, it's unfortunate that sometimes we don't proceed in cases where people really want us to proceed with charges. But we're not the lawyers for individual people.
Hollett says it's just not a strong enough case to bring before the courts.
We looked at the file, and in our determination, there was no reasonable prospect of conviction.
I don't know why we even bother and spend the money in this province, because they're spending taxpayers' money to do all of these inquiries. Why are we paying the money for something, then you get a recommendation and you just brush it away?
And what I saw in that video, that was crisis invention, and that was escalation. And I thought to myself, how is this happening?
So if I go punch my neighbor right now and he called the cops, they would arrest me. They don't need the video or whatever. They'll arrest me and then investigate later, and then the judge or jury would decide what happens. They have video evidence of what the cops did. And still, oh, there's no prospect for, you know, getting them in trouble, or there's no prospect for convicting them. What else do you need? A signed confession?
The officers involved are on administrative duties while waiting for the results from an internal complaints investigation. The chief makes no excuses and won't say his thoughts on the video for now. He says training is always getting better and that great strides have been made in responding to difficult calls.
When they say, oh, more training, better training, that's so much pig-splaining. It's so much cops-splaining that it's gotten ridiculous. You can't train cops not to be tyrants. These cops were tyrants. That doesn't train away.
I know how hard our officers work here. I know sometimes, an incident can damage a reputation, it can damage a relationship, especially when I think about vulnerable people, right? And sometimes when you lose that trust, it's very hard to get it back. But we will continue to work hard to do that, to build those relationships, to make sure that we provide the best and professional service that we can to this community.
For Dennis Ball, his relationship with police has always been rocky. He has a lengthy criminal record, but hasn't had a conviction in 8 years. He served his time. Now he says it's time for those officers to serve theirs.
Justice is justice, law is law. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're breaking the law and they're hiding stuff. They're trying to get away with what they done here. Someone is brushing it underneath the rugs.
Ariana Kelland, CBC News, Paradise.
Well, that doesn't seem like paradise to me. Cops being able to assault someone on camera and just get away with it. Now, I know there's an internal investigation. What's that going to give them? 3 days at home without pay? A week at home with pay? Like, absolutely ridiculous. What do you think of this? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.